the Comic DF.
What is up, besties? It is your girl, the Karmic DF, back to you again with another reading. This time I did a pick a card. So before you just click off, yes, I do have a whole playlist of pop culture readings as well as conspiracies if this is not the video for you. However, you don't have to be spiritual in order to enjoy this video. Let me just put that out there right now. You can watch it too. You can enjoy it too, bestie. But this reading, this is probably, I got the intuitive nudge to do this, and then I realized that Mercury's retrograde from December 13th to January 1st, 4th? Anyway, people that know about Mercury retrograde, if you don't, it's when the boys come back to the yard. Or if you're a guy, when the girls come back to the yard, it's when your exes come back. And what do we need in a time like that? A reminder of why we cut them off to begin with. But I did set the intention to just really, as we're approaching the new year, but this is timeless, so whenever you see this, it's when you're meant to find closure. But this is, my goal here is to help you if there's that ex that just never leaves your freaking head and you're like, how did that go wrong? Like, what did I miss? Like, why can't I get over this? There's just like that, like, it feels like you didn't get the closure you need. If that's you, if you're like, this one person, I just can't get it out of my head. Why did it go wrong? Or why did they treat me that way, etc., then this video is for you to help you be able to heal, to help you release this person, to help you realize your worth. Now, I've already started it, but by the time it's up, it'll be finished. And from what I see, it's just a lot of people with a lot of pain. So let's help heal so that we can bring in this new year coming up with a bang. Or if you're seeing this 3 years from now, then maybe it's your time to finally let that person go, finally understand what went wrong so that you can get the best relationship possible, the one that really fills your heart. So as always, this is a general reading. A lot of people will see this, so take what resonates. Don't let it take from you. You know, if it says that they were cheating, but you didn't know that they were cheating, then chances are that it's not for you. But this is for entertainment purposes only. If you enjoy it, please leave it a like. It really does support my channel. Hi, my regulars. Hey, besties. How y'all doing? I hope this is helpful for y'all as well. Let me know down in the comments below if it helped, if I got it right. Let me know if you enjoyed these so that I know if I add this into my collection that people will enjoy them as well. But as always, please like, comment, share, subscribe. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. All the links are down below. If you'd like to book a personal reading, links are down below. But let's get into it. All right, besties. So this is going to be a pick a card for, you know, whatever closure you didn't get from an ex. So if there's someone that, you know, they either left you high and dry, bad breakup, words were said, and you're just in a place where you're like, I want to move on from them, but talking to them again will never get me anywhere, or they'll never say what it is that I need to hear, then this is the reading for you. So if you've never done a pick a card reading before, basically what you're going to do is you're going to clear out your mind, you're going to breathe, and you're just going to basically go, what pile best suits what my ex would say, and then without any bias, pick a pile. So pile 1 is the fluorite pile. Pile 2 is rose quartz. Pile 3 is clear quartz. And pile 4 is black obsidian. So like I said before, clear your mind, no thoughts. Don't let your brain pick what pile. I want you to clear your mind. Think about the ex that you really can't get past. And then stare. And then your brain will bring you to whichever pile it is. If you're not spiritual, that's totally okay. Just see where your eyes feel like they linger a little bit longer. And then that pile, the description down below, you will find what timestamp it's at. So I will see you at your pile, bestie. Let's get you some closure. Hey, pile 1, so this is your reading based on what your ex, if no ego was involved, if they could just really tell the truth, how we can get you closure in regards to this ex. Now, straight away, I feel like there was a lack of communication and a lack of following through. And you may be in this place right now where you might still be holding on to this person, because I'm hearing the song Keep Holding On. But not in like a way that you should, but more in a way of like, I feel like this person kind of did a number on you. They might have done a number on your mental health. You might kind of feel less than now. You might feel like you don't know left from right. You may feel like you can't trust anymore. You might just feel like, because I'm hearing bruised and scarred. So it's like this person probably did damage. Words were said. It definitely feels like an ego was brought into the play. So it just feels like someone who's not very attached to their emotional intelligence, and they probably gaslit you a little bit. And maybe even, I just see a lot of fighting, a lot of words being thrown that really aren't, it's projections more than anything else. So if they said a lot of negative things towards you, I think you triggered them because they couldn't reach your depth. Like, I'm being drawn to this strawberry quartz that I have, and it's reminding me of the higher heart chakra. So it's giving me this vibe of like, they couldn't really meet you where you were at, and they knew that. But instead of being like, I'm not ready for this type of caliber of relationship, they wanted you anyway. And so they knew, from their perspective anyway, they knew that you were out of their league. And instead of like doing the work that it would take to feel like they were on your wavelength, they were trying to keep you in a box, trying to make you feel less than, so that you wouldn't go, hey, I deserve more than crumbs. I deserve more than words without actions. I feel like this person was a lot of talk, but never actually followed through. Like, this would be someone that promised you a vacation, promised you going out to the movies, promised you buying you something that you really wanted, promised you this, promised you that, but it didn't land on anything. It never came to fruition. It was just a lot of words, a lot of fantasy to get you emotionally invested, but it wasn't anything of substance. I'm being drawn to my fool's gold as I'm talking about that. So again, a lot of talk, but really never any action, because they just couldn't be what you needed. So let's take a look at the cards and see what it has to say. I'm hearing right away that it's not personal. So if you're sitting here wondering like, oh, I wasn't good enough, I'm not pretty enough, hot enough, smart enough, this enough, that enough, it's not something personal. I think they were meant to trigger you to make you realize your self-worth and where you kind of sleep on yourself. Because I'm being drawn to my skull crystal here, and it's like, I feel like you gave and gave and gave, and they took and took and took, and it drained the shit out of you. But because you love them so much, you kind of made excuses for it. And I'm not judging you. I've done it too. But it just feels like this person, it's giving, like, I'm seeing the meme, this black and white meme of this woman carrying her boyfriend with a diaper on. I feel like this person is just not willing to level up. They're not mature. So it's like a lack of emotional intelligence, and it's mixed with like, they could have either had a mom that babied the crap out of them, or they just learned really early on in life that in order to get through life, they were better off playing the victim than actually leveling up. So I think you were kind of, I don't want to say you were screwed from the start. I'm not saying that, because every relationship is a lesson or a blessing. It's one or the other. And this one was unfortunately a lesson, but it was a lesson to make you realize that you deserve more than you settle for, and also a lesson in trusting your intuition and knowing that, not all that glitters is gold. That words aren't always actions, and moving forward, not projecting fantasies onto people just by what they say, realizing who they actually are and what they can give you. So I feel like this was meant to teach you how to really trust yourself and how to take what you deserve and not settle for anything else. But let's get closure from your ex. Let's see what's good. Okay, yeah. They might have struggled from mental health issues. That's kind of what I was feeling. There's this, like, maybe they came from nothing, you know what I mean? And a lot of people, you can either come from nothing and turn it into something, or you can feel like a victim for the rest of your life. And this is kind of the vibe that I'm getting from them. It's like a woe is me headspace, like nothing's ever good enough. What I do is never good enough. I think they learned really early on to be a victim no matter the circumstance. And I feel like you'd kind of dodged a bullet, because this person was never going to level up. They were going to try and keep you stuck in a box and keep you from becoming who it is that you're meant to be. And I think that had you stayed in this relationship, you would have never been happy, because the best you were ever going to get was complacency with this person. They were never going to build you up, add to your life, take away stress. I feel like they were just going to be like having, if you have children, it would have been like having another child. If you didn't have children, it would have been like having a child. So Yeah, it's like the relationship itself drained the hell out of you. And I feel like you're in this headspace now of like, I don't know if I should trust relationships. I don't know if I should trust dating again. I feel like you're almost kind of gaslighting yourself. Like, I don't know if I could trust because I have bad taste and blah, blah, blah. But in reality, it's like what you're not seeing is that you were always the light, and light attracts moths. And so this was always meant to make you go, you know what? F this. I don't deserve that. I deserve better than this. And you getting comfortable being on your throne and loving yourself and realizing that you have a lot to offer and never getting off that throne again. People need to meet you halfway. You don't need to die down who you are. And you had to die down who you were for this person. And I feel like this is more a pep talk from spirit instead of like closure from them directly, because I feel like they're always going to be in this headspace of like, I could see some of you might, this ex might forever destroy your name, forever be like, oh, she was the bad guy. She didn't do what I needed. They were selfish. They were this, they were that, but they're really talking about themselves. So if that's the ex that you have and they're talking a lot of crap, just listen to what they're saying, because they're actually telling on themselves. So if they're sitting here and they're like, oh, you were so selfish and you were so childish and you never met me halfway. That's exactly what you should be saying to them, because what they're saying is what they were. And so because this person's so good at gaslighting, unfortunately, moving forward, it's you learning how to trust your intuition. They had a lot of mental health issues. They had a lot of self-esteem issues. I feel like they presented like they were, you know, like if they were a guy, they were a tough guy. If they were a chick, it was like nothing bothers me. But in reality, everything bothered them. They were very easily triggered, very easily provoked. They don't have any control over their emotions. They're very like all emotion, no thought. It's not like they can just calm themselves down. They don't know how to self-soothe. They don't know how to be their own support system. And so they expected you to take on all the weight. I'm hearing like 80-20. So I feel like this is more about you dodging a bullet. And I don't think that they will ever really admit to where they went wrong, because I feel like this is a pattern that they're going to repeat. I don't really see them growing out of this. So if you're like, did I make a mistake? Like maybe they can grow in the future and then I'll never get a chance. I don't see them growing. Honestly, I don't. I think this person has been through a lot of crap. They should have evolved by now. It's like they went through some storms, and a lot of people grow through the storms. I feel like the storms helped solidify their victim mentality. And so you were always going to be fighting for this relationship because there was nothing to fight for. They had nothing to give you. So I want you to really think about what you had to offer in this relationship. Maybe write down a list of everything you did, and then write a list of everything they did. But I think what you would see is a lot of lists of things they said they were going to do, things they said they were going to be, and then you're going to see how much you really showed up. And I think that'll help you take your power back, because it's going to be like, oh my God, like, because I'm hearing the song, because it feels so empty without me. So this person feels empty without you. They feel empty without any forms of relationship, because they see relationship as a form of escapism, because they don't like themselves. So if you're like, oh, they didn't love me because they didn't think I was good enough, yada, 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 I promise you it's projection. They hate themselves. So if anything, like, take that with you, because it was never about you. You were mirroring all of the parts of themselves that they feel like they couldn't be. And instead of being inspired by it, they were triggered by it. I am being drawn to Sagittarius. So they could be a Sag, sun, moon, rising, or have it in their chart. They can also be an Aquarius with this whole shut-off system. I can feel that as well. Maybe an Aquarius moon, or just heavy Aquarius or Sag placements. Maybe even mutable placements, kind of feel like a wishy-washy, so maybe even Gemini. If it's Virgo, because Virgo can be like really aggressive. I'm not feeling that. It's more so wishy-washy and emotionally avoidant. So Sag, Aquarius. It could be Leo. I feel a little bit of Leo here as well. Could be fire signs with the 9 of Wands. Could be earth signs with the 5 of Pentacles. But I'm just getting this wishy-washy sign. I think their childhood as well was very crazy. And so it's like this person feels destined to repeat what they've seen instead of leveling up. So again, it's more of a vibe of like you dodged a bullet, because you'll probably never get closure from this person. I'm almost seeing like if you were to get a form of closure from this person might reach out when you're finally over them, or you're just in a place where you're like, nah, I'm good. Like you wouldn't actually take them back. I feel like they would emotionally or energetically feel that and then reach out with like a surface level, hey, what's up? Maybe they'll tell you the words that you want to hear, because maybe they were good at that in the beginning. Maybe they were good at feeding you a story, feeding you a dream, but again, it just didn't land. So I could see them reaching out, like I'm seeing like Facebook Messenger, Instagram DM. So they might hit you up when you're actually healing from this. So just keep an eye out for that, because again, it's just like I don't want them to change and to evolve even more than they already have. They see what your potential is. I'm being drawn to the clear quartz now, and it's like you've healed a lot of your own stuff. They want that warrior type of energy, but they're not going to do it. They expect someone to do it for them. So again, if you're like, I don't know how I'm going to live without them, I get it. I do. But I think you're going to start to notice you're going to have more energy now. You're going to have more time to do the things that you want to do, because this person just drained you. It's giving energy vampire. But because they said a lot, it kind of gave you some kind of like brain fog, and you couldn't really see through it because it was just like the excitement. You got swept up in it. Also getting Aries. I don't know if I said that earlier. I might have, because it feels like it burns hot, but then it dies out. So Aries, Sag, Leo, it's just giving a lot of like, I say a lot, but I don't have anything to back it up with. Yeah, I think this was a time where you really ignored your intuition because you loved love. And I think that this has made you scarred towards love. And I think this is why this is coming up for you. Yeah, it's like you had to die down who you were to make this person comfortable. And maybe this was even a situationship where they were like, I'm not ready yet. Like, maybe we should take it slow. Maybe we should just see where things go. But all the while, it was like they didn't commit because they were afraid. They didn't commit because relationships scare them. They have a negative mindset about relationships. It's like relationships equal chaos. Relationships equal fighting, abuse, verbal or physical. I'm not sure. It depends on what they were raised in. But I feel like they were raised in chaos. They thrive in chaos. They're going to continue to enjoy chaos because that's their comfort. You didn't want that. And so this is why this relationship could never be anything solid, because you are much more evolved than this person. They could never give you what it was that you wanted. Yeah, this person was a burden, and I'm being drawn to the 10 right after the Wheel of Fortune, which has a 10. This is a cycle that you are meant to be releasing for good, where you make excuses for people that don't really have your best interest at heart, where you kind of like gaslight your own intuition because you want to see the best in people. You see the potential in others. You have a very big heart. You're a good person. And so what I'm hearing from Spirit is when people tell you who they are, believe them. That's what I'm hearing right away, like loud as day, clear as day, whatever the hell. Spirit's like, when people tell you who they are, believe them. Because I feel like you have a tendency of being like, this person's going through it, but I get it because I've gone through it too, and then I kind of got out of it. But listen, like, we're all going to have trials and tribulations. Not everybody's going to level up because of those. Some people will use that as a scapegoat to avoid leveling up in their life, and that's very much what this person was. But you are not that person. You are the type that has this something hard coming into their life, and maybe, you know, you spend a little time in it, but eventually you're like, you know what, I'm going to transform this. I don't deserve this. So you might have been the one to leave, or maybe they ghosted and you're like, well, I was already kind of in a headspace of like not wanting to do this anymore. But you're the type that turns lemons to lemonade kind of vibe. You're not the one that's gonna, because I'm hearing the song, I get knocked down, but I get up again. And now I'm hearing Nicki Minaj get knocked down 9 times, but I get up 10. You don't let things be the reason that you don't show up in life. This person very much is a victim in their own little story. Yeah, it's like they sold you a dream, but they were never going to give you anything for it. So if you're in this place where you're like, I don't know, like maybe I threw it away, or maybe I should fight for it, yada, yada, whatever it is, I promise you that it was always going to be a burden, because it was never anything that was going to land. It's never anything of substance. Page of Pentacles in the reverse. This is an offering. First of all, if the Page of Pentacles is upright, that's a small offer, so it ain't shit anyway. This is reversed, which means that it's a fallacy. It's giving you an offer, but like I'm seeing the pentacle in my mind's eye turning into sand and like fizzling out of my hand. It's like It's not real. It's not based on anything. I can sell you a fantasy of how much love I have to offer you, but in reality, and notice how he's kind of like side-eyeing. This guy didn't trust love, or girl, whoever it is for you. This person didn't trust love. They always had their guard up. They were never going to be open and fragile and vulnerable with you, because that's just, they don't understand that. They might have even projected that like you're too sensitive, you're too emotional, any of that, because they can't tap into it. They see that as weakness because that's what they were taught, because they've been hurt as far back as childhood, and so they learn to be strong to their own detriment. And you think it's a you thing, but it's not you at all. It was them. It's always them, and it's going to continue to be them in their future relationships until they really just do some reflection and go, oh, hey, it's me. Hi, I'm the problem. Yeah, I'm hearing Taylor Swift in my head now. So I think this person could even be like a serial dater. So if you see them dating someone within the next couple of months, I promise you, they've not changed. Like, it takes 6 months to a year to heal from a real relationship. This person might be like, because I'm hearing like buddy hopper, but it's giving me like, I'm hopping from one relationship to the next, one situationship to the next. I need someone else to validate me. I need someone else to feed my ego. I can't do it on my own. So again, this is giving energy vampire. If you don't know what that means, basically, if you're not spiritual, that's totally fine. What that basically means is like they're going to drain your life force. Like, they're miserable, and misery loves company because it's going to drag you down. So if you're in a good headspace, like, have you ever been in a conversation with someone who does nothing but complain, and you're having a good day and you feel guilty because they need to vent, but you're like, this is draining me. Now I don't feel as good. Now I don't feel as solid because this is exhausting. This person is always at this level. You're mostly always at this level until there's healing that needs to be done. So maybe you met them when you were in a healing. Like I said, it feels like you were ready to learn this lesson for good so that you don't keep settling for less than you deserve. I think that's the closure you need to hear, is that if you choose to start listening to your intuition over, you know, seeing the best in people, the potential, this cycle can end so that you could get somebody that's actually solid and that's going to show up for you. But you have to admit to yourself that this person was all talk, no action. This person was all games, no solidity. It's just, this person could never be what you needed, and it had nothing to do with you, and it had everything to do with them. They did not want to level up, and I don't see them wanting to level up anytime soon. They could also be a water sign with this King of Cups here. So Pisces, yeah, I could see that. Pisces with the whole wishy-washy. But Cancer, Scorpio as well. I don't feel so much Scorpio except for like the manipulation. So potentially there, but it's just giving me the vibe of like someone who has turned off their emotions really early on because they don't know how to deal with them. And so emotions in general are going to trigger them. And I feel like you are the type that's comfortable with your emotions. They were never going to be that person for you. Back of the deck. Yeah, this already ended. This person wouldn't know a good thing if it hit them between the eyes, is what I'm hearing. They don't. They're going to thrive in chaos. They're probably going to end up with someone that treats them like crap because that's what makes them comfortable. They don't like being the apple of someone's eye. This is giving me like, I hate to say it, but maybe it's to make you laugh. It's giving me someone that like has a fetish for like being peed on or slapped in the face, and I'm not king shaming anybody. I'm just saying, like, if you think about the mental subconscious perspective of that, it's like because they hate themselves. I'm not saying it's everybody, so don't come for me if you're into like I've been slapped in the face, no judgment here, but it's just given this vibe of like they're better, they don't want to, but it's given the vibe of like, I need to date somebody that's abusive because that's all I know. And you were loving, and they had no ability to fill their own cup. They had no ability to absorb it. It's just giving me like, give me more, give me more, give me more. I am deprived of love in all avenues. Give me more, give me more. And it was going to completely just drain your spirit. And I feel like it had already done so to the point that you were either like, enough is enough, or spirit got involved and broke up this relationship. Because the star in the middle, it's like what's happening behind closed doors. And what's happening behind closed doors is a lot of moodiness, a lot of passive aggressive, a lot of aggression. This person is just, they're damaged. They're very damaged. And listen, we can hope for the best in some people, but that doesn't mean they're going to live up to it. They might reach out, like I said. I feel like they're definitely stressed out about the fact that you're not with them anymore. So if you're like, oh my God, like they got over me, I don't know how they did it. No, they didn't. They're just playing the same role that they've always been playing. They're cool, collected, and calm. No, they're not. They're a hot mess. It's an inner conflict. They're really sad. They want to reach out, but again, they're going to just give you more manipulation. They're going to just sell you a fantasy that's never going to be anything because they don't know how to be happy. You are never going to make them happy. No one can make them happy. It's not your job to fix them. It's not your job to solve the problem. There's an inner child issue here, being drawn to the child, and then this is like a depression energy with the sun in reverse. They don't know how to be happy, so they feed off of other people to try and be happy. They were always going to feed off of you. They were never going to level up. You did not miss out on a good thing. If this comes back around, which I feel like it will with the Ace of Swords, again, it's going to be all talk, no action. So keep that in mind. Ace of Swords is right above Four of Cups, which again is giving me this detached energy. So it's giving me like hitting you up at 9 o'clock at night on a Monday, being like, yo, you up? What's up? And pretending like nothing even happened. You know what I mean? Like just gaslighting the whole breakup, or gaslighting if this was a situationship and you guys just stopped talking. It's like, we're going to repeat this cycle. This person, if they had a choice, they would keep bringing the cycle over and over and over again. So if you don't want to keep continuing this, I would walk away, because again, if they're dating someone else, if they're humoring other people, if they're flirting on comments, on pictures, maybe they're posting like they're happy and shit. It's all a facade. They're miserable, they're sad, they're depressed, they're lonely. They don't know. I see someone who's like fidgety. Maybe they drink a lot of coffee, maybe they smoke cigarettes or vape or something. It's just someone that's got a lot of energy, doesn't know where to put it, stressed out, anxious, complete avoiding oneself, no ability to self-reflect. You dodged a bullet, honey. Like, I don't know if your friends have told you that. I feel like a couple of people might have said you dodged a bullet, but I feel like because you see the potential in everybody, you have a hard time being like, this person's a douche, because it's like, well, I can see where this comes from, or, well, I understand, I get it, I've been there. But in reality, this is meant to teach you. You can't keep giving to people that aren't going to give back to you. This was a lesson. And it's supposed to make you realize that you deserve so much more than you give yourself credit for, but it's up to you to put yourself in that position to receive it. So what I'm hearing from Spirit is doing a lot of inner work. So how do we talk to ourselves? Do we show ourselves the love that we want, or are we mean to ourselves? Because we're going to keep attracting karmics if we don't work on how we talk to ourselves, how we love ourselves. We show the world what kind of love we want. And if we're cruel to ourselves, people are going to be cruel to us. But if we're like, oh, I love me, I'm the best. And it takes time. So, if you have self-esteem issues, work on it. You know what I mean? Rome wasn't built in a day is what I'm hearing. So don't give yourself too much of a hard time. But I feel like right now, because I'm hearing the song, see, I had to go within. So I think now is the time for you to embrace where you're at in life, what makes you happy, what doesn't make you happy, move forward with that. Realize that this person is just, I keep hearing like a negative Nancy. This person's never going to change. They're always going to be negative, and they were always going to bring you down, and it was always meant to be karmic, so that you can learn to trust your intuition and learn that you're worthy of more than what you settle for. So if you're worried about, is this person finding better? No, they're not even capable of the love that they want. Honestly, you may end up being either the one that got away, or the excuse one where they're like, yeah, I never healed because of that one ex, blah, blah, blah. You're going to be the one that's stuck in their head for the rest of their lives, because you were a solid soul and they could have used that, but instead, because they were emotionally avoidant, they were triggered and they lashed out instead of realizing what you had to offer. You saw their potential. They don't want to live up to it. Maybe not in this lifetime. It doesn't feel like it. So let it go, because there's someone else's problem eventually. And like I said, the more you pour into yourself, the more you learn how to love you, pour into your inner child. Notice how all these flowers are in bloom. I think once you start to really learn how to love yourself, that's when something healthier is going to come in. But again, you need to learn how to bring in your own happiness. You need to also learn how to trust your intuition, and don't gaslight yourself in the name of they could be, or they will be, or if they had love, then they'd become. It's what they are right now, and that's what Spirit wants you to focus on. Are they living up to their potential, or are they making excuses so they don't have to? I feel like this was just a way for you to realize, hey, I deserve what it is that I give out. And moving forward, really own that, so that you don't attract people that are going to take advantage of you, because that's what this feels like. It feels like someone who didn't love themselves, who noticed that you really loved yourself, and you had so much of abundance of love that you gave it was pouring over, and so they wanted some of it, but they couldn't give you anything else back, and they were never going to. So you really did dodge a bullet. You have a really big heart. You're a really beautiful person. So really start pouring that into yourself so that you can be a match to someone who's going to give to you instead of take. Because you're a giver, but it's to your own detriment. So moving forward, keep listening to that intuition that you kind of try to like logic your way out of. Is this person really showing up for me? Are they actually doing the things that they say they're going to do? You know, did they say they'll buy you flowers and then they bought you flowers, or do they keep saying they're going to buy you flowers? You know what I mean? Because I'm hearing the song, I Can Buy Myself Flowers, that Miley Cyrus song. So it's really about stepping into your power, loving yourself, buying your own flowers, holding your own hand, being that spouse for yourself, and then spirit can match it, but it's up to you. Because I think you've also struggled with mental health issues, definitely a fear of like, am I enough? And that's how you manifested this person in, because they also feel like they're not enough. So the moment that you realize that you are enough, which you are, because I feel your energy, you're a very loving soul, and then you stand in your power and not feel like a jerk for wanting more, that's when you're going to get better in. But this person was always meant to trigger you so that you could realize that you deserve what it is that you're asking for, and you don't have to explain yourself. So I'm going to leave it at that. I hope this was helpful. If you enjoyed it, please leave it a like. It really does support my channel. Subscribe if you haven't already. Comment down below what your pile was so that people know that they're not alone. And yeah, just keep throwing love into yourself so that you could get someone that can mirror that back to you, because you have a beautiful soul and you deserve what it is that you give out. I just feel like you haven't heard that enough, and you need to remember that and tell it to yourself. Spirit's also reminding me about nighttime affirmation music, so maybe that's something you should think about looking into. Just look up nighttime I am affirmation music on YouTube, and that will help you build confidence while you're sleeping. So it's an idea. But anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. I hope this was helpful. I hope this was informative. This person, you dodged a bullet, honey. He or she is the one that lost out, not you. So yeah, have a great morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you're seeing this, and I will catch you in my next video. What is up, pile 2? Thank you for joining. And as always, for the intro, this is a general reading, so take what resonates and leave the rest. Don't let the rest take from you. So if it doesn't fit, don't force it to fit. There's other people that will pick this pile. But right now I'm hearing the song, If You Ask Me, I'm Ready. So it's giving me this vibe of, for some of you, is this really over? Because this feels like communication broke down. So I don't know if wait till we pull the cards, but I think for some of you this might not even be over, because this feels like a breakdown of communication. Maybe some words were said because we didn't understand one another, but it feels like this broke down because of communication. So let's see, what do the cards say? Closure. Okay, so this was definitely a fated connection, that's for sure, with the Wheel of Fortune right in the middle. You were always going to meet this person. They were always going to be a part of your life because they were meant to teach you something. And I'm hearing the song, The Devil Doesn't Bargain. He'll always leave you, whatever the hell the words are. It's giving me the vibe of like, communication was a huge factor in this. We didn't communicate well. We had different types of communication styles. And it's like I'm hearing the song, Can You Meet Me Halfway? So did we have a fight and our egos got in the way, and then we kind of like separated because of that fight? Because it feels like for some of you, take it if it resonates, leave it if it doesn't. You'll know if you should give up or not. But for some, it feels like this was a communication breakdown, but there's still a lot of love there. But then for others, it's like this cannot be fixed because of the communication, because we cannot see eye to eye, because it's like you're speaking Spanish, I'm speaking English. Neither of us understand the other language. We're not going to get where we need to get. So I think this was like a battle of two people that really just didn't understand each other. Very different walks of life. Maybe one of you had a hard childhood, whereas one of you had a good childhood. Maybe one of you has been through a lot, whereas the other one kind of skated through life. This just feels like two people that are from like, I'm seeing like railroad tracks. It's like we didn't come from the same side. You know what I mean? So it almost feels like you guys are very, very different. And that could have led to the breakdown as well. It's like, I don't understand you. You don't understand me. Because I'm hearing the song, I don't want to hurt you. You don't want to hurt me. But I can't stand you and you can't stand me. Say goodbye, nothing I say could change your mind, 'cause I can't stay. I feel like there was a fight. there was an argument, and I feel like words were said. So for a small amount of you, I feel like this could be salvaged, but I don't feel like it's for all. I feel like words were said that cannot be taken back for most of you. And I feel like this was a build-up to the breakdown, because this was a relationship that was a lot of fighting to just understand one another. Because I'm hearing the song, Can We Just Talk? But it's like, before we get lost, because we don't get each other. Like, I'm having a hard time doing this reading because I'm like, I don't get it. And then Spirit's like, that's the point. It's like, my intuition is just completely off. I feel like I'm upside down. Like, I'm hearing the scene from Fresh Prince where it's like, let me tell you a story all about how my life got turned upside down. So I feel like you guys had different views of life. You had different views on relationships. You had different views on everything. So even though sometimes opposites attract, and that's beautiful, I just feel like you guys were too much of an opposite. So it doesn't feel too much like it's going to be bad blood. I feel like eventually you both will probably get to a place where it's like, yeah, we just didn't really make sense. I feel like you'll get to a place, because I'm seeing two people shake hands. So it might be in the future, or it might be your higher selves, because maybe you had this plan. Because it does feel like a fated connection. But it's like, I don't think you guys are going to hate each other forever. I think eventually you guys will have an appreciation for each other, because I feel like you can agree that you guys taught each other a lot, even if it was the negative. You know, like maybe they showed you a scenario of life that you had never seen before, you know, like we're from different sides of the tracks. Maybe they came from a different country, quite literally, or maybe it was just like, again, different livelihood, maybe different job, you know, maybe you're an entrepreneur and they're, I don't know, doing like crypto or finances, or you guys just have different fundamental. It's kind of giving like if an atheist were to date a Catholic, it's like, it doesn't make sense and it probably won't work. But you will probably learn a lot. You know what I mean? Like an atheist can't be with a Catholic. The moral, it's too, you would be constantly defending your stance. It just wouldn't work. And that's kind of the vibe I'm getting. It's like, it couldn't work because we're just too different. We see life too differently. Your version of life is not how I'm seeing it. And I don't feel like either of you are wrong. It just feels like you both came from different places. One of you might be from Florida. I'm being drawn to Florida, so I don't know. One of you could be from New York. Maybe it's that type of vibe where someone's from like the countryside, Florida, and then someone's from like New York City, city life. So maybe someone was more live off the land while someone was more technology and climbing a ladder. It just feels like we have different beliefs of how life should be. So it was always going to be a clash, but it feels like it was also meant to teach you about things that you weren't privy to before. So again, say you're someone who grew up in poverty, right? And this person grew up in luxury. Even though you guys didn't get each other's lifestyles because they were so different, you might have got like a sneak peek of how the other side lives. You know what I mean? So it's meant to teach you about different lives, different walks of life, but it was never meant to be solid because you guys are just too different. But there is love there. I am being drawn to the rose quartz. So no matter if this is dead and gone, I'm hearing the song The Old Me's Dead and Gone. So I feel like this is dead for most of you. But I do feel like there's a love there. There's a resonance. It's like, I feel like you were either outside of what they usually date or they were outside of what you usually date. This is something that's like, I'm hearing the song My Heart Will Go On. You guys will, yeah, I'm hearing the song I'll Never Forget You. I Will Love You Till the Day I Die. There's always going to be love here. This could be a soulmate that was meant to teach you things and help you grow into a different chapter of your life. Maybe you were in a transitional phase of your life and that's when they came in. But as always, sometimes people are meant to grow out because they're chapters. This feels like a chapter. I'm being drawn to the books. This feels like a chapter. And unfortunately, I had to die because, again, fundamentally, you guys were different. Maybe you wanted kids, they didn't. And that's where the fundamentally different part comes into play. There's just something here where it's like, that would never work because our morals don't line up. And that doesn't make either of us bad. It just means I'm just seeing like two puzzle pieces and we're trying to slam them together, but they don't fit. Does that mean that puzzle piece is just broken? No, it just belongs somewhere else. I feel like you guys were meant for I'm hearing a fun time, not a long time. It was meant to help you learn about other things that you might not have experienced before. But again, there's just a clash of morals. And I feel like in the long run, it was kind of exhausting because it's like I see someone talking to a wall and it's like, why don't you understand my perspective? And then the other person's like, well, why don't you understand my perspective? And the problem is this and that are true, but I live on this side of the railroad and you live on that side. You're not wrong. I'm not wrong, but we're both headed in different directions. And so this feels more like their higher self coming down to be like, I understand why you're stressed out. I understand why either you had to give up or I had to walk away, because we just didn't make sense in the long run. I appreciate you for what you've taught me. I appreciate you for who you are at your core level. I appreciate you, even though I probably didn't seem that way, but I had to lose you to understand you. And I think that if you're not there already, you're going to feel this way eventually too. You're going to get to a place where you're like, oh, I get it now. I understand you. You're not right for me, but I understand you. Because I'm being drawn to like a golden retriever, and like, golden retrievers are really happy and they're lovely dogs, right? But that doesn't mean they're for everybody. Some people want a chihuahua. Does that mean a golden retriever is not your dog? Not a great dog? No. But I feel like you guys had different energies. Like maybe you're a golden retriever type of energy and they're like the grunting pug that is overweight and never wants to go out. Maybe you're extroverted, they're introverted. Maybe, like I said, quite literally, maybe you met them and they're in a foreign country and you guys don't have the same language. It just feels like at a core level, you're not the same. And you want someone who's going to understand you at your depth. And this person just couldn't do it. They didn't get you because, again, it's just like, it's that puzzle piece thing. They're not your puzzle piece. They were meant to help you learn life in a different perspective, but they were never meant to bring you to the finish line, if that makes sense. They could be a fire sign, but this gives me more of like a stubbornness. Yeah, I think it just kind of ran its course. Someone took their love back. I think at one point it was probably fun. It was probably enjoyable, lighthearted, but I think once things got real, once things got serious, someone's emotionally avoidant here for sure. It kind of feels like them, to be honest with you, because I'm being drawn to how like they're looking away. They might also be stuck. Take it if it resonates, throw it away if it doesn't. But I'm being drawn to how he's looking to the past, and then there's rose quartz right there. So someone might not be over an ex. That, take it if it resonates. You would already feel this. Otherwise, just throw it away. But this almost also feels like either I'm not over an ex or I'm comparing you to an ex in the negative, like, oh, my ex used to do this, I don't want to repeat this kind of vibe. So someone might not be over their ex. You might not be over your ex. Someone's not over their ex. So that could have leaked into the relationship as well, because either I'm side-eyeing somebody because I'm seeing someone going through old messages and DMs on Instagram. So again, take it if it resonates, leave it if it doesn't. You would already know. I don't channel things that people don't know. I would never do that. It's just not my style. But I see someone like looking at, because I'm hearing the song, Look at This Photograph by Nickelback. So again, I feel like maybe you were up against being compared to an ex that was toxic and they never wanted to repeat that. And so they could only give you so much, or they weren't over an ex. And so again, they couldn't give you all of their love. Because because I'm hearing the song Half of My Heart by John Mayer, where it's like half of my heart's got a grip on the situation, half of my heart wants you. So it's like, I don't even know what I want, and I'm expecting you to kind of like pick up the slack a little bit because I'm not fully in this. This person always had one foot out the door. They wanted it lighthearted and fun, but they were not ready to get as deep as you wanted, because I'm seeing like a dolphin jumping out of the water, and then I'm seeing the dolphin go right all the way down, 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 down. But I'm being drawn to how dolphins are lighthearted. So I feel like you were someone that was more about depth, where they were someone that was more lighthearted. They tried to get to your depth, but eventually they always had to come back up for air, because it's like they don't know how to live that way. And so again, it's a clash of like, I don't understand you, you don't understand me. And so this cycle had to end, because it's like I'm beating a dead horse. What I'm saying, you're not picking up. What you're saying, I'm not picking up. I have my foot out the door because, frankly, I'm afraid of love to begin with. And so there's just this clash here. But it doesn't feel like someone that you need to hate, or someone that's like, if you're still in love with them, I really can't blame you. Because, again, it's kind of like, how did this break down? It broke down because morally you guys are just very different. And even though it feels good in the moment, it didn't have any longevity to it. And so even though I'm sure this hurts right now, like my heart kind of breaks a little bit for this pile, because it's like, why? Like, if I could figure out how to make you stay, I would. If I could figure out how to meet your needs, I would, but I just don't get you. And now my throat's starting to block off. So I feel like eventually maybe you gave up trying to defend yourself, gave up trying to explain yourself, or eventually maybe both of you just stopped talking and you just kind of learned how to coexist without trying to fix things, and then it just kind of fell apart. And then we took our energy back, we took our love back. But this is, again, just like a moral issue that we're having. We don't understand each other. So I don't feel like anybody's at fault here. It just feels like you obviously deserve better. You deserve somebody who understands you, but this person just can't. They don't get you. They're different than you are. They're fundamentally different than you are. And I think you felt that, and you tried to meet them where they were at, and, you know, you tried. So that's the best you can do, right? But at the end of the day, this person just, they're on a different wavelength, and they were never going to get you, and you were always going to feel like you were talking to a brick wall. So however this broke down, it's honestly in your benefit, because you would have been like, I see someone just banging their head on a wall. It's like, why don't you get it? Why don't you get it? They're never going to get you. They're never going to get it. So if they pulled their love away from you, if they left you and you're just like, you feel so betrayed, and it's because it was time. It was time for this to break down, because again, you didn't want to give up. They didn't want to give up. The love was real, but also you guys just came from different walks of life. You couldn't get each other. Yeah, this is really going to help you work with your anxiety as well. If you have anxiety issues, I think walking away from this is going to help you feel better. Yeah, it was like a tug and war of power issues here, because you guys couldn't understand each other. It feels like I'm trying to overpower you, you're trying to overpower me, but that actually wasn't the goal here. Like, I'm actually, this person doesn't feel as toxic as I would expect from a closure reading. It just feels more like I'm living my life, but I think that you manifested this person in. This feels like you manifested this person in because you're getting ready for a love-filled relationship, but you needed someone. Okay, this is going to sound weird. This feels like you've been doing the work to heal, right? You attracted this person because this person was pretty close to what it is that you're looking for, but they weren't the whole kit and caboodle. And what I'm getting from Spirit is this was a test for you to go, maybe they're not awful. Maybe they're not verbally abusive, and maybe they're not, you know, the worst relationship I've ever had. But, and I'm hearing a quote from a movie, what if I have great, but it's not as great as something greater? This was meant to make you go, because I'm hearing the song that don't impress me much. This was meant to make you go, you know what? I could settle here. You know, maybe we don't get each other, but it could be worse. I've had worse relationships than this. This person isn't the worst thing that's ever happened to me, but I still feel like I deserve that whirlwind romance. I deserve rom-com love. I deserve dating my best friend. I deserve a cheerleader. I deserve a partner. And maybe you've set out for that. And so this person came in to kind of test your intuition, because it's like, yeah, they may make your heart sing a little bit, but something intuitively didn't feel right. And it was that clash of you guys being completely different people, opposite to the ability that, like, you can't meet in the middle. You guys are just worlds apart, maybe literally, maybe figuratively. But this person came in to test you, and I don't feel like they knew that. This is more spiritual, but I feel like they came to test you of like, are you really ready to choose yourself? Are you ready to end this cycle of picking people that give you less than you deserve? I'm going to send in somebody who looks like the solid, the embodiment of your wish, but they're going to have a few things wrong with them, and you're going to have to decide, am I crazy for wanting my dream love? Is this the guy or girl? Is this the one? This was to help you realize that love isn't meant to be complicated. Love isn't meant to hurt. Love isn't meant to be confusing. Love isn't meant to be off. Because I think you would agree with me in saying that, like, you can't fully pinpoint why this broke down, other than, like, they didn't get me. I didn't get them. No matter what I said, it was like they couldn't understand what I'm saying. There's like this block here. Maybe they did end up blocking you. That's possible, because it's just like it's like I'm trying to explain to you where I'm coming from and you're just not getting it. And I'm not trying to attack you, but you feel like I'm attacking you. And now you're telling me your side of the story and I feel like you're attacking me. But in reality, they're not attacking you. It's just that you guys speak different languages. And so this was like, if you believe in twin flames, this kind of gives the vibe of like false twin, like the twin before the twin, the soulmate before the soulmate. I feel like whoever you end up with is going to have kind of some sort of similar personality traits as this person did, but they're actually going to understand you. They're going to want to solve communication. Maybe in childhood you had an issue with communication, speaking your truth, and you started to learn how to do that, and then you did it in this relationship, but they didn't get you, and then you're like, oh my God, why do I even try? Why do I talk my shit? Why do I defend myself? Why do I speak my truth? This is always what happens. But in reality, it was meant to make you see that you can speak your truth. And sometimes speaking your truth still doesn't make things work because not everyone's meant to work, right? We want the one. We don't want a one, right? Because if we're just settling for whoever we can get, we're not going to be happy. But if we want the one, then of course we're going to date people that are chapters in order to get to the one. So I feel like this person was meant to make you go, yeah, this is good, I guess, but I want better for myself. So I don't feel like this was the world's most toxic relationship. It was just the world's most confusing. You know what I mean? Because it was like, why don't you get me? Why can't we make this work? Why can't we meet halfway? Why don't you understand what I'm saying? I'm trying to talk to you. I'm trying to fix it. Why do you think I'm trying to fight with you? I'm not trying to fight with you. I'm trying to explain myself. Why does this feel like now I'm defending myself? It's a lot of like poor communication. Definitely reading into the cards, I'd have to say that no more than 5 to 10% of you are actually going to end up back with this person just because, again, you're so fundamentally different. If anything, for this pile, the small percentage that will, it'll happen when you guys experience much more life to the point where you can understand them and they can understand you. But for most of you, this is not it. This is kind of like the one before the one. So maybe now you're being called to like not date at all and just focus on yourself. Or maybe you're being called to really look at what it is that you want in a relationship and then sticking to those things. Because Spirit's drawing me to how I have never wanted children, but I have dated people with kids. I've dated people that have told me that they wanted kids, and that goes against my morals, right? It's fundamentally. So maybe this is a person that they didn't want kids, but you did, or vice versa. That's a fundamentally core value that cannot be, you can't make excuses for that, right? Going back to like atheists and Catholicism, those are things that like, it's really hard to meet halfway. You can't do that, especially with the kid thing, right? So it's kind of giving me this vibe here where it's like, where did you kind of sleep on your morals? Where did you say, oh, I don't need this, or oh, I can settle for this? Where did you not necessarily disrespect yourself, but where did you go, maybe I'm being too picky. Maybe I can only get 8 out of the 10 things that I want on my list. And now if you've watched any of my videos, you'll know that I don't mean list as in I want them to have dark hair, over 6 feet, blue eyes, works out at the gym every day. No, I mean like good communicator, healed from their crap, funny, intelligent, things that matter, right? I feel like you have like a list. Maybe it's only in your mind, doesn't matter. But it's just giving me the vibe of like, I feel like some of the things that really matter to you, you have a tendency to let go in the name of love. And so this person came in because I don't think you could pinpoint exactly what was wrong with this relationship other than they didn't understand you and you didn't understand them. And there was this kind of battle of like this tug and pull of like who's on top because we didn't get each other. So the closure that they can't give you, that they'll never be able to give you, because frankly, I don't think either of you can understand it. And it's not really something that I could put into words other than you guys are on different wavelengths. And so just like being mad at a tourist that doesn't speak English, that's stupid, right? Because they never had a chance. They don't speak English. Well, whoever this was didn't speak your language. So it was always going to fall apart. But being heavily drawn to this 9 of Cups, and then 9, which again, there's a lot of 9s in this, which is again like completing a cycle. We're almost done with the cycle. Remember how I said this feels like the one before the one? I feel like if you play your cards right and if you start really investing in like what it is that you want and making sure that you will not settle for that. I can see spirit throwing you a couple of like, are you sures? And they're going to be people that are very obviously not what you want. So long as you swerve those people and keep pouring into yourself, I do believe that so far, at least between pile 1 and pile 2, this pile feels like they're a lot closer to finding the love of their life, the one. As long as you really listen to your gut moving forward and not stray from what it is that you're looking for, and don't make excuses, even if like this relationship, for instance, you can't quite put a finger on why it broke down. That doesn't mean cling harder. It means it doesn't flow naturally. Like, think about a solid friendship that you have and it's just easy, right? Well, relationships to an extent should be that way too. It should be your best friend. It should be someone that gets you and supports you and is there for you. I feel like this person just didn't get you, and you deserve someone who understands you. And you deserve someone that you don't have to over explain yourself to. And I feel like you spent a lot of your life over explaining yourself, whether that's because you had parents that didn't listen, or parents that gaslit you, or friends that didn't listen and gaslit you. But I feel like you're ready to move on from this part of your life of over explaining yourself and pouring into yourself so that you can get the person, the love, and the friendships and everything else in your life that you deserve. But like I said, I feel like this was an accidental / spiritually karmic lesson of like where you sleep on your morals, where you sleep on your beliefs, where you're like, I really, really, really value intelligence and communication and funny, and this person has communication and intelligence, but they don't have funny, so I'm going to settle for them anyway. What your morals are moving forward, we need to stick to that. I feel like Spirit's going to test you, but so long as you keep remembering, this is what my dream is, this is what I want, I'm not going to stray from that, you have a very solid chance of meeting someone that's going to be a heartfelt connection moving forward. But we just got to heal from this. But in terms of closure, this just feels like someone that did not get you. They don't understand you. Yeah, I think right now Spirit wants you to start pouring into yourself. 9 of Pentacles is the Independence card. Start pouring into yourself and start really praising you, recognizing how far you've come. What are your achievements? Where have you been looking for other people to validate you, but you can actually validate yourself? Also, take this if it resonates, but if it doesn't, throw it away. There could have been a third party, like I said earlier. So again, you would already know about this. Maybe they had a wandering eye. Maybe they weren't over an ex. And again, that's probably why they might have left you high and dry, because there's either an ex haunting them or there's an ex that they couldn't move on from. And so they either left you to be with an ex, or they left you because they weren't over an ex, or they left you because they reminded them of an ex. Take it if it resonates. But at the bare minimum for all of you, this person was wounded by an ex, and I feel like because I'm hearing the song You Remind Me by Usher. So I feel like something in you reminded them of an ex. So that probably was meant to trigger their abandonment issue as well, because it just feels like there's an ex here that kind of dictated this relationship a little bit. Like you were never really going to get the full version of them, because either an ex did them dirty and they haven't forgotten, or they weren't over an ex and they were still talking to them on the side, and you already knew about that. And so your success lies outside of this person when you pour into yourself and think about what it is that you want moving forward and sticking to those morals. Maybe you had a moral of you can't talk to your exes, and this person was talking to their ex. You know what I mean? So think about what it is that you want moving forward and don't stray from that. Yeah, I think this person was hiding from you that they were never going to be what you need. I think they were more focused on themselves, maybe their finances, maybe their job, but it's just very like, I'm going to focus on me. I want to build an empire for myself. And I think even them, whether subconsciously or consciously, I think that they knew that you are not the one. I think this is a half and half, so take it as it resonates. If they said something similar to that, then they knew consciously, but subconsciously, a lot of them knew that this wasn't going to be anything more than what it was. It didn't have a solid foundation. I feel like they hid a lot of stuff from you. They definitely hid who they were from you. They didn't give you all of them. Because I'm hearing the song, you still have all of me, but I'm being drawn back to the ex. So again, I feel like an ex screwed them over, an ex hurt them in some way. And so they came into this guarded. They came into this not giving you the full picture. I almost wonder if that's part of the communication breakdown too, because if you're going to lock down your heart, then all you can really give is words and sometimes actions, but you're not going to understand somebody if your heart's shut off. You know what I mean? Because like the energy is going to feel weird if you're closed off and they're closed off. And it feels like this person was closed off from the rip because they didn't trust people anymore. They were already in that headspace of like this other ex that broke their heart, did something to them. And so when they came into this, they were kind of selfish. And they were kind of like, well, what's in it for me? How do I make sure I'm safe? How do I make sure I don't get my heart broken? And so again, I just feel like this was meant to teach you a lot, meant to help you learn about things, and also meant to make you step into your own power and realize that your success has always been you, your independence, what you can create for yourself, what you already have created for yourself, how far you've come, whether that's in business or in life or in love. Spirit's drawing me to tell you to take a look back at like the last year of your life. I feel like you've come a long way. I feel like you've healed some things. I feel like you've worked through some stuff. So give yourself way more credit, and moving forward, just be stern on like, this is what I want. Do you fit that? And let them show themselves who you are. I'm being drawn to like a cat and how they observe before they decide whether or not they're going to come up to you or ignore you. So it's like being mindful moving forward, not assuming that people have bad intentions, but just assuming that like people do put on a mask. They do put on a show. That's why there's a honeymoon phase, right? Because we act our best, but eventually we're going to be just ourselves. And so maybe we need to approach relationships moving forward as friendships first, but it's just giving me the vibe of like, we need to suss people out before we give them all of that love that we have, because we have a lot of love to give. So I'm going to leave it at that. I hope that this was helpful. Like I said, I feel like you guys just come from two different worlds. You were meant to learn about a different lifestyle. They were meant to learn about a different lifestyle. You might even be hung up on an ex too, or maybe you're stuck on pain from the past, and that's why this was brought in, because if someone's stuck on an ex and you draw them in, chances are there's something that's blocked in your love cycle as well. So looking forward, how do we kind of stunt our emotional growth in terms of like our heart and what we want and what we need? And then moving forward, how can we be our best versions of ourselves so that we can get the love that we know that we deserve? Because I feel like you're very close to it so long as you keep pouring into yourself and realizing that your intuition knows better than your brain does, and realizing that if they don't fit what you need, that list of things on paper, your morals, you know, you want someone who's extremely extroverted because you're extroverted, but then this person's introverted. Maybe you should be looking at, am I making excuses for this, or is this something that is meant to be coming in for me? It's being more logic based, because I feel like you lead with your heart, which is a beautiful thing, and you should always do that, but you still have to use discernment and be mindful towards relationships. But I think that you already kind of knew in this relationship that something was off. You just couldn't quite put your finger on it. It's communication styles, it's different walks of lives. But moving forward, I think you might attract someone that has similar things that you liked about this person, but that's actually healthy for you, because you're going to continue to do the work. And as long as you continue to do the work, I see you manifesting what's actually right for you. This feels like the person before the person, as long as you keep following your own true north. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to leave it at that. If you enjoyed this reading, please leave it a like. It really does support my channel. Comment down below if this fit. Let me know your story. I'd love to hear about it. Share this with your friends if it helped. And I will see you guys in my next video. Love you guys so much. Subscribe if you enjoyed, and I will